Okay, hi, my name is Emily Lake. I am Vice President of Omoda-Jaecoo and iCaur Malaysia. So officially we are under Chery Auto Malaysia. So in the first few months of operation for Omoda-Jaecoo, we started retailing 7,000 units in 2024, right? So many factors contribute to the brand success. I think one of it first is I want to thank the Malaysian public for actually trusting the brand, even though we are a totally brand new brand. I think one of the main things which we are focused on, similar to your publication as you're explaining to it, you are looking at the critical gap. There are the really expensive cars. There are also the full mass market segment cars. So what Jaecoo really did when we first started was that we identified what do Malaysian customers really need, what are the gaps that currently are still there. So that's where we actually came in with premium off-road SUV with the tagline of attainable luxury. So basically what we offered the customers was, for one, a car that was really beautiful on the outside, technologically highly spec'd on the inside. So basically what a lot of customers saw was it was a lot of value for the amount that they were paying. And of course, with all our cars being a Chinese brand, what we have is also we're very high in technology. So one of the things the customer really loved, especially with the J7, was the size of the screen. Actually, that was the first thing that they saw. So the size of the screen, the technology was extremely high. On top of that as well, we introduced a very different design language. But another very important component, other than product, is customer experience. Because in the end of the day, when someone buys something, it can be anything, it's the experience that they have. So for example, from the time they walk into the showroom, how the showrooms are built, it creates an ambience and a design language positioning for the brand. So J7 was one of our very first vehicles. After that, we continued on with the C9, and then we introduced the J7 PHEV. So basically, for our consumers, is really understanding what they need and providing and filling in that gap of what they require. Basically, initially when Chery first came in, it was not originally by Chery from China. It was actually brought in by a third party. The difference is that now Chery has come in from Chery International, where China itself, actually in a way, I report directly to China. So that is one of the differences, whereby we have direct connection to the production plants in China, to supply chain, to the products that we have in China. In terms of why do we have separate branding, is purely because customers identify themselves with different brand positioning. So for example, with Chery, it's always a very family-oriented car, where it's focused on, that's why their tagline is "We Guard with Love." While for Omoda and Jaecoo, we are more focused on, Jaecoo is premium off-road SUV. That's why our tagline is from classic beyond classic, where we carry a very square classical design, and that's where we move beyond classic by the technology that we have. Now Omoda is actually cross-future, because you can see the design is actually more tech, it's more cross-future, it's more fashionistic. And then of course there's iCaur. iCaur is basically a brand new, what we call new energy vehicle brand. So all these different names or brands actually speak to the different customers, and we approach different target groups. So by separating it, we also have differentiated workshops, we have differentiated showrooms, so that when the customer ultimately comes into our showroom, they would in a way feel an affinity towards the brand, and that is where the customer journey begins. I think I cannot speak on behalf of other brands, but basically for Omoda-Jaecoo, we do care about the resale value, because in the end of the day, like what we were speaking about earlier, it's the second largest investment, if it's not, it's the biggest investment for the person. That's why for us, it's very important that when you purchase the car, you're comfortable with that investment decision. So with all our cars, we also sell in extended warranty, because essentially the warranty is what protects the value. Together with the car, a lot of times we also have something called service packages, which you buy, and it's actually attached together with the vehicle. So for us, in order to ensure that the resale value is maintained for our vehicles, is for one, we price right. In general, once you have the appropriate pricing, discounting won't be necessary, right? With the appropriate warranty, with the appropriate insurance packages, with the appropriate service packages, this is where you will be fundamentally be able to retain the value of the car. So the good thing is I got a J7 and a J8 here. The ideal situation is that for us, you start from a J7. You just started your family, your kids are still relatively young, you can start from the smaller car, J7. And that's where we also have the pinnacle, which is the J8, which as your career progresses, you start earning a bit more money, you're able to pay more on the monthly. The ideal situation is that you swap from a J7 into a J8 as your family grows. So that is how we see it. It's more of we want to journey with the customer throughout their lifetime by providing them with different vehicles. In the end of the day, when does price war happen? It's the law of supply and demand. When there is oversupply and demand is not there, potentially this is where price war will begin to start. For us at Omoda-Jaecoo, our focus is that we found a critical gap whereby there are not that many competitors in the market. If anything, we believe that we are standalone, where we provide attainable luxury, premium off-road SUVs. So yes, price war might be happening, but to be honest, right now we are not participating because basically our key focus is providing a good customer journey for every single customer that purchases the car. So I'll explain why is it iCaur in China and why is it iCaur with a U. So basically there's always a domestic positioning and there's also an international positioning. So basically under the umbrella of Chery. In Chery is split into two major groups. That is the Chery group, which sells domestically, and we are under the international arm. So one example is that Omoda-Jaecoo actually does not exist in China. So you can go to China, you will not find a single Jaecoo vehicle. Because basically what we do is that in the international arm, we are focused on providing cars that are suitable internationally. So a lot of people tend to compare, they look on the website and then they say, oh, China has this car at this particular price. Will we get the exact same one? It does not make sense because in the end of the day, between the simple things like different temperatures, different climates, different lifestyle, size of country, right? So because of that, we actually have to localize our products to make it suitable for the Malaysian market. So in terms of iCaur branding, we're actually the first country to globally launch iCaur since the Shanghai Motor Show last month, I think. 2-3 months ago. So what iCaur stands for is that yes, currently right now we are a full electric vehicle company where we are focused on providing new energy vehicles to the Malaysian public. But unlike any other new energy vehicle, we are the first off-road full electric vehicle in Malaysia. For electric vehicles, a lot of people think I'm just going from point A to point B. That's not the intention of iCaur. The intention of iCaur is that yes, you can go from point A to point B, but in between those is where you can explore. You can actually show your individualism. That's why there is that big I there. The I actually shows there's innovation, there's independence, there is innovation, there is a lot of interaction together with the car. So it's creating a unique identity. So where we see a lot of people that will like this car are those people that are individual, they want to stand out, they want to be different, and of course they want to explore with their vehicle. Yeah, I think in terms of technology adoption, there are multiple factors in play. It's not just about the people, it's also about the infrastructure that is in place. It will affect consumer behavior. But something that we do notice and we have seen, for those customers that have tried electric vehicles before, most of the time they will stay to electric vehicles. Right now in Malaysia, there's a bit of a struggle because they are concerned about range anxiety. That is one of the main things that people are worried about. But what I also believe is that with test drives, similar to what we're doing today, with clear understanding on how you effectively use the infrastructure, it takes away this worry. And of course, Malaysia is also supporting this. Many organizations have already approached us because they also want to reduce carbon footprint. So there is a combination of factors that will help the growth of this vehicle.